CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference held every year in Washington, D.C., is a political forum attended by thousands and thousands of people from across the United States. In this presidential election year, Victoria Jackson and I attended, and we got to see what it was all about and hear firsthand from our candidates. Not to mention the occupiers, which author Ben Shapiro and I spoke about outside when they were trying to take over the conference parking lot. What do you think about this, Ben?
I mean, they're a bunch of idiots, and the question, of course, is who is funding them. Because, I mean, if you look at the signs, you can't see them right now, but the signs behind us were really, really nicely produced. I mean, these are not poor people sitting in their houses at night or their rent-controlled apartments at night, writing up Romney sucks signs. These are like fully produced union ads. I mean, it's very clear that this is an orchestrated grassroots, non-grassroots AstroTurf movement.
Wow. So, are you part of the 1% or the 99? What are you?
Well, I mean, I'm part of the 50% that pays taxes in this country, and I'm sick of paying my taxes to folks like this. Right. So, I mean, I don't believe in 1%, 99%. I mean, the fact is that the people who are in the 1% is like above 350,000, and the people who are at 350 are closer to the people who are at 349 than they are to the people at 1 billion, right? So the divisions don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense in terms of income. What it really should be is obviously 100% of Americans, we're all standing together, and if they don't want to stand with us, then that's just them standing against the capitalist and American system, and that's their problem, not mine.
Next, I caught up with Trevor Loudon, who was instrumental in uncovering communist Van Jones and other strange people surrounding Barack Obama.
The Occupy movement is a pre-revolutionary movement. It's backed by the Communist Party USA, Democratic Socialists of America, the Revolutionary Communist Party, the Workers' World Party, and it is also backed by the Cubans. I have evidence that key Occupy people were trained, been working with the Cubans. They went to a conference in Tijuana just before Christmas and organised port shutdowns in Oakland and other economic sabotage against the United States of America. So this is a big movement. It has got big significance and is backed by the same people that are backing Barack Obama today. It's a deflection mechanism. They're going to be very violent this year. They're going to probably attack the Republican Party convention in Tampa. They'll create merry hell in Chicago with the G8, and they're going to start occupying state houses across the nation, schools and universities. It is a big movement, and it's backed 100% by the communists in this country.
Andrew Breitbart is also very passionate about exposing the truth about the Occupy movement.
There's a lot of organization to try and take down a movement as strong as Tea Party, and the same people, or the people who are behind the Occupy movement, and the mainstream media's come up with a lovely story of the year 2011 narrative about Occupy, and if we don't deconstruct and take down by new media reporting who the people behind the Occupy movement is, it will be used as a battering ram against conservatives on behalf of President Obama to get him reelected. I went to dinner with domestic terrorist Bernardine Dorn and Bill Ayers, and matter of factly, while they were playing their cards close to their vests, I asked, whatever happened to the anti-war movement? And they said, it's the Occupy movement. They gave it away. It's the exact same group of people, and both of them have one thing in common. They could care less about the banksters. They could care less about the anti-war movement. Both were movements that were written for the media so that they would conflate them, so that they could be used to attack conservatives. That's how the organized left works. It's street theater, it's violence, it's intimidation, it's fascism on display, and Barack Obama has his fingerprints all over it. If we're not hip to that, we're screwed.
And another conservative Hollywood director is Steve Bannon.
Director of The Undefeated and Fire from the Heartland, and now you have a new movie, Occupy Unmasked.
Exactly.
Tell us about it.
Well, it's Andrew Breitbart and Dave Bossie came to me about 2 months ago with an idea about doing a film on Occupy Wall Street. And, I said, hey, look, the only way you can make this film is to make it a war film. The Occupy movement has never been looked at as kind of the very negative thing that it is. It's a very negative instrument in our country. It's full of hate. It's full of violence. It's full of contempt for American exceptionalism. And I said, let's find people from the left. I don't want any conservatives in this film. So let's go get David Horowitz, former lefties, know, David Horowitz, guys like Brandon Darby, who was the undercover guy at the that helped stop the Molotov cocktails in the Republican National Convention in 2008. Let's get Lee Stranahan, Anita Moncrief from Acorn. So the whole film is former lefties, former radicals, really walking you through the danger that Occupy Wall Street is and the Occupy movement. I think we just showed a trailer here to about 250 bloggers, and I think it blew their heads up. So we're starting off in pretty good shape. It's going to be in theaters in probably late April, early May.
I also spoke to Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli.
What or whom do you consider the biggest threat in America?
Well, right now it is the policies of this administration. I mean, they have no respect for the Constitution. They have no respect for federal law when it's inconvenient for their goals. They have no respect for the states. They're even violating court orders, which is just incredible to me. And they're doing it all in the name of growing government and reducing your choices and your liberty because they believe government is the solution to everything. And frankly, we've proven, A, we can't afford this, and B, it doesn't work. So I'm hoping America wakes up here in the next few months and we get ourselves a new president.
I caught up with conservative actor Alan Covert, who you might remember from the movie Happy Gilmore.
This guy is doing something amazing. You are writing children's book teaching them American values.
Yeah. We have a web app. It's for the iPhone and the iPad right now. It's called Cherry Tree. It's called Cherry Tree, and it's patriotic books for young children that you can read to your kids at bedtime. We have Tex the T-Rex. He's a dinosaur that was born on the 4th of July, and he visits historical landmarks and teaches kids about Plymouth Rock and Mount Rushmore, and here he visits Cape Canaveral, and he talks a little bit about American exceptionalism, how we're the only country to ever put a man on the moon, and how we invented space flight. And it's just kind of small things that you can read to your kids at night to teach them to be proud of their country. And
what's the address? How can they find it?
It's just, if you go to the App Store, just punch in Cherry Tree, or you can go to cherrytreechildren.com. That's a tough one.
I attended the CPAC screening of Runaway Slave and interviewed Dr. Alveda King.
What do you hope is going to be the message that people will leave after they've seen this?
When I first heard about the concept and now the reality of the film, and it's here, everything that it promises to be and more, that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is for everyone, regardless of skin color. As you hear in the film, as you hear all of us say, it's not about skin color. We're one human race. We should be one human family. And we're going to have to love each other, but we're going to have to acknowledge that it's the whole American dream is for everyone. Can that be realized? One person at a time.
Also from Runaway Slave, I spoke with Janine Borelli, Kay Carl Smith, and Ron Miller.
No, it was a very exciting night. We had a really nice crowd. And this movie is so important for our society today because it gives a message to Americans that we believe in liberty, self-reliance, personal responsibility, and that is the message that needs to be communicated to the black community because there's such a huge misconception about what is involved with conservatism. And really, it's a message about liberty, and it's a message for all Americans, and this medium, this movie, can deliver that message.
You were in Runaway Slave, and you just saw it for the first time. What do you think?
Make CL with this concept. I'm so thankful CL took the vision that God gave him, and I'm glad to see it materialize. This is a very strong message. We have to continue to communicate the life empowering values to people, and we got to do that through Frederick Douglass. And we need to talk about the thing that's in the movie are the things that Douglass lived. Every single issue that's ailing the black community right now, Douglass lived it, and he overcame it. So we got to talk about Douglass, how he used conservative principles or life empowering principles to improve his quality of life. And that's what this movie is all about. He's the answer.
All right, I'm with Ron Miller. You were in Runaway Slave. What's this film about? Tell everyone who doesn't know.
Well, it's about changing the narrative that's out there right now. There's one story that's being told about the black experience in America, and it's a story that I think has kept us in bondage. And I know when you use that term, people think you're exaggerating, but we're not talking about chains. We're talking about what I call the velvet chains of your mind. And it's really teaching us that we can be individuals. We do have opportunity. And if we allow ourselves to break free from those cultural chains that bind us, we can achieve and succeed.
Finally, I did a little wrap-up with our own Victoria Jackson after we watched Sarah Palin speak. To say the least, Vicki was very excited about it.
I'm speechless. Sarah Palin for president, Bachmann for vice president. Those were the two best speeches of the whole week. I heard all of the big shots. The men were like blah, blah, blah. Sarah Palin was like electricity. The crowd went insane. She said everything that genuinely from her heart. Okay, I know that she was testing the waters, and that is, I think she's going to run for president. She's waiting for the people to lift her up. Alan Keyes said on the cruise ship I was on, he said, Republicans and Democrats are both corrupt. They're both socialists now. He goes, what we need is the people to lift up who they want to be the leader, not have the Republican National, what is it called in D.C.? The Republican National Committee tell us that we're going to vote for Mitt Romney and they give him the most money and shove him down our throats. No. He said the real American way is the people to say, please be our president, Sarah Palin. That's what's happening. When she gave that speech and everybody went insane, because she's speaking truth from her heart, and she has a servant's heart. She's not after power. I'm telling you, Palin for president.
I turned around and you were standing on your chair. Why?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Tell what happened after she spoke, which was different than anyone else who spoke this whole convention. What happened?
Well, everybody jumped out of their wall. They jumped up a million times. Well, she got heckled, which was fantastic, because when she got heckled by some occupiers who snuck in, and they started shouting something incoherent, all of us started shouting them down, and we said, USA, USA, and then all of a sudden the crowd in unison changed to Sarah, 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 and then Sarah's like, that's how we win. She goes, we win.
Sarah